Hello friends, we are back again with another lecture from the platform of LearnMate classes. LearnMate classes, which deal both in English and Maths. The numbers are up on the board. I have a YouTube channel by the name of LearnMate 2K24. The numbers, as you can see, 77380 21600, and the other one 98675 So today, what are we going to do? We're going to be doing something in maths, and that something is a lecture in commercial maths. If you have been studying percentage in earlier classes, as an application of percentage, you come across a topic which is profit and loss. Now, profit and loss is not just a topic which is meant for textbooks and academic learning. It's a very important topic when you go shopping, when you start doing business later on in life, and in all other transactions in your life, because you need to understand when you are making profit and when you are going to be incurring a loss. So, if I have to talk about profit and loss is simply a topic where when you buy something, you sell something. When you buy something, that is known as cost price. When you sell something, it's known as selling price. If you are able to sell for more, that's if your selling price is more than the cost price, you're making a gain, or what in terms of maths we call it profit. If your selling price is less than the cost price, then you have a situation where you're incurring a loss. So that is, loss is then the cost price minus the selling price. These are just the basic tenets of profit and loss. Now you need to know, when you are comparing two transactions, suppose one shop is giving you that on 100 rupees, he's saying that as a shopkeeper, he's making a profit of 10 rupees. Another shopkeeper on 90 rupees is making a profit of same 10 rupees. Now, which one is a more profitable transaction for that? In other cases, you go to the shops and one person is selling oranges at 9 for rupees 10. Another one is selling 10 for rupees 9 with the same kind of cost price. So, where are you going to be making more profit? There are some overhead expenditures involved, like when you're selling something, it's just not that you're buying something and selling something. Obviously, when you're buying something, you're running a shop, you must be paying some kind of taxes, you must be having some employees to which you have to pay wages, you must be having an electricity bill, and etc. etc. So those costs also get added on into the cost price. So these are referred to as overhead costs, and they also needed to be included where? In the cost price or in the selling price. Obviously, it's a cost to the shopkeeper, and so he will have to include it in the cost price. So we're going to be dealing with the different nuances of profit and loss. As we move on, we'll go into more technical situations. So coming straight away to the basic terms of profit and loss, cost price, abbreviated as CP, is the amount paid to buy something, or it could also be the amount paid to make something. Selling price, on the other hand, abbreviated as SP, is the amount you get for selling something. So these are the two prices which are going to make all the profit or loss calculations as we move through the chapter. Profit or gain, abbreviated or in short form, we use P. It's the amount you make when you sell something for more than its price. It can only happen when the selling price is more than the cost price. So if I just say, like, if you buy a pen, say for 10 rupees, a shopkeeper is buying pens at the rate of rupees 10 and he sells them at the rate of rupees 12. So automatically he is making a profit of 2 rupees on each of the pens that he sells. So profit happens only when the selling price is more than the cost price. On the other hand, when is a loss incurred? Loss, short form L, is the amount you lose when you sell something for less than its cost price. As I was just explaining in the previous example, if you bought your pen for 10 rupees and you're selling it because of some reason at 8 rupees, you incurred a loss because you are selling it at a much lesser price, and what you paid from your pocket was actually 10 rupees and you're getting only 8 rupees. So you are incurring a loss, and that loss would be the difference between the selling price and the cost price. Here in this case, the cost price is more, so cost price minus selling price, that is a loss. And what is the profit in rupees? It is selling price minus cost price. Please keep in mind, here when we are talking about this, we are talking about the difference only in rupees. We'll come to that part when we have to talk about the percentages. Now, see, like suppose I have two, a shopkeeper is having to sell his thing in at two prices. Suppose he buys at 10 rupees. In one case, he buys a lot, say, of 100 rupees, and 60 of those pens he has to sell at 11 rupees. Another case, he buys pens at the rate of 9 rupees, say another 100, and he sells at the rate of 10 rupees per pen. In both cases, he's actually making 1 rupee per pen. But is the profit percent going to be the same? In one case, he's earning 1 rupee on 9 rupees. So if I calculate that as a percentage, it becomes 1 upon 9. And when you try and find out the percentage, it is into 100. On the other hand, he's earning 1 rupee on each 10 rupee that he spent. So 1 upon 10 into 100. So that is a totally different way, in the sense the profit percentage is going to be different. And obviously, if he's earning 1 rupee and 9 rupees, that is a much more profitable venture for him. So in order to be able to understand what margins a profit a shopkeeper needs to make or is able to make, we need to understand the concept of percentage, whether it is profit percentage or it is loss percentage. Now, profit percent is nothing but, as I was telling you in the previous example, if on a cost price of 10 rupees, he's made a profit of 1 rupee, how do you calculate the profit percentage? Percentage is always calculated by multiplying with 100. So, profit upon CP into 100. Mind you, here the profit is in rupees, right? So, the profit in rupees upon the CP into 100 is going to give you the profit percent. Just as an example, if you bought a pen for 300 rupees and you made a profit of 30 rupees, so what is your profit percentage going to be? It's going to be nothing but the profit which was in rupees upon the cost price of the pen into 100. And if you can see things, this is going to be 100, the two zeros and two zeros cut, 3 from here cuts, and this gives you nothing but a 10%, right? So this is how you calculate the profit percent if you know the profit and the cost price. Coming to, if profit percent and CP are known. In this case, I don't know the profit, but I know the CP and I know the profit percent. How then am I going to calculate the selling price? The selling price, as we know, is obtained by adding the profit to the cost price. So CP plus profit. But what have we said? Profit is nothing but a percentage of the cost price. So if I just go back to my previous example, here I had got 10% as the profit which was earned on 300 rupees. So what is the profit in terms of rupees? 10% of the cost price, which is nothing but rupees 30, which was the profit which we had taken here. So profit is nothing but profit percent of the cost price. Now can you see, if I write this in terms of a fraction, this becomes nothing but CP plus profit percent. How do you write that? P upon 100 into the CP of CP. So this here profit percent of CP has become this. Using your distributive laws, I can pull out my cost price from both these places, and this then starts looking like 1 plus P upon 100. Rewrite this to make it CP. 1 will actually become 1 upon 1. So this is 100 plus P upon 100. So this is your formula when you are trying to calculate the selling price, when the cost price and the profit percentage are known. Here, mind you, this is nothing but the profit percent. We are not talking about profit in terms of rupees. We are talking about profit percent because this is what is given to you. Profit percent is given and cost price are given. Is that okay? So this is how you deal with it when these two are given, right? So the same formula then starts looking slightly different if in another case I'm given the cost price and I'm given the profit percentage. How do I calculate the selling price? Now we have just learned here that selling price is nothing but cost price into 100 plus P upon 100. Now if I need to find this, I transpose all these this side, and what happens? If I leave only CP on the right, this as a fraction goes up, this comes down, and this becomes nothing but SP into 100 upon 100 plus profit percent. Is that okay? The fraction gets inverted because 100 has gone up and the 100 plus P has gone down. So this is the next formula, that when you know the selling price, you know the profit percent, this is how you calculate your cost price. So these are my two formulas which I should be remembering, because it is in not in all circumstances that you know the profit in rupees. You may be knowing the profit in terms of a percentage. If you know the CP and the profit percentage, that becomes your SP. If you know the profit percentage and the SP, this becomes your CP. Now let's see what happens when I have a situation where I am incurring a loss. So as you can see, loss percent, just like profit percent, it was profit percent was profit upon CP into 100. Loss percent is going to be loss. This is going to be in terms of rupees. Loss in rupees in term upon CP into 100. Let's take an example here. CP of a watch this time is given as 500 rupees. The loss incurred is 30 rupees. That means when I'm trying to sell that watch, I would have sold it for 470 rupees, right? Now, this being so, how do I calculate the loss percent? The loss percent is going to be nothing but the loss upon the cost price into 100. And let's see, what do you get? The two zeros from cancel. And what do I have? This becomes 6. So, this is nothing but 6%, right? So, this is how you find out the loss percentage. Now, if the loss percentage and the cost price are known, how do you find out the selling price? Selling price, as I know, is nothing but cost price minus the loss, because you are incurring a loss. The selling price is more, the CP is less. And if I know the CP, suppose I am saying my CP here, like in this case, was 500, my loss is 30. That means I would have actually sold that watch at 470 rupees. So, when we are talking about loss percent, how do I actually find out the loss percent? Whenever we need to find out percentage, it's always multiplied into 100. So, loss percent is, if I have to show you with the help of this example, this is going to be loss upon CP into 100. So, in this case, it becomes 30 upon 500 into 100. The zeros cancel, and what do I get this as? This becomes nothing but 6%, which we have already calculated here. So, if I say CP minus loss percent of CP, and if I write this down in terms of my formula, this is CP minus L percent of CP. Percent is nothing but L upon 100. Now, using my distributive property, I can pull out my CP, and this becomes CP outside. And what do I get here? Since CP has been pulled out and I treat this as a factor, 1 into CP. So, what am I left with inside? 1. And from here, my CP is pulled out. So, I get L upon 100. So, this formula then becomes CP 100 minus L upon 100. And what is this equal to? This is equal to the SP. So, this is one more important formula, that selling price is going to be nothing but, this is 100 minus L upon 100 into CP. In the contrasting situation, if I have the CP and the loss percent known. Let me just pick up my formula from there. SP is equal to CP 100 minus loss upon 100. I know my CP, so I let my CP be on that side itself, and all other things I transpose to my left. So from the denominator, this goes into the numerator, this numerator goes into the denominator. So this becomes nothing but SP into 100 upon 100 minus loss. So these are my formulas. If I know my loss percentage and I know my CP, my selling price can be calculated by this formula, that CP is nothing but 100 minus loss, and loss here is in terms of percentage upon 100. If I know my CP and the loss, this is my SP formula. So based on these 4-5 formulas, the entire thing of profit and loss is going to be based. We just need to keep a few things in mind. As I told you earlier, there's something known as overhead expenditure. What do you mean by overhead expenditure? Overhead expenditure, obviously, as a shopkeeper, it's not that everything is just being given to me. I'm going to be incurring lots of expenditure, and that will also add on to my costs. So overhead expenditure gets into your cost, and let's then start doing sums which then will make all these concepts. So the first example up on the board for you is Ankit buys an old TV. He spends rupees 1200 on refurbishing it. What do you mean by refurbishing? Means that you're trying to make it into a condition which you can sell it off again. He may be a second-hand dealer. So, and he sells it at rupees 16,800 at a profit of 20%. Now, do you understand? Can you see in this particular question, have we been given that information as to how much he bought it for? No. We just know that he bought it for a certain amount. He had to spend 1200 rupees on it, but he made a profit of 20% in selling it at 16,800 rupees. The question for you is, how much did he buy it for? Now, remember there was a formula that if I don't know the cost price can be calculated as selling price into 100 upon 100 plus profit. Do I know the selling price? Yes, he's selling it, so this is the selling price. Do I know the profit? I know the profit percent, so I can use this and I will be able to find out the set cost price. So, the cost price of the TV then would be equal to the selling price into 100 upon 100 plus profit. Now, but then what to do with this 1200 rupees? Whatever cost price I get at this stage will be the total cost, including what he spent on transporting if there was a transporting charge, including what he spent on refurbishing. So let's at least find out that total cost. So let's write down what was our selling price. It was 16,800. This is 100. What is my profit given to me? Profit is nothing but 20%. So this becomes 100 plus 20. Remember, information given to you is that the selling price was given as 16,800 and the profit was given to you as 20%, right? So, having said this, let's try and find out what you're going to get. 16,800 into 100 upon 120. I cut my 0. Let's look at the table of 12. 12 ones are in 16. It goes one time, leaving a balance of 48. In this, it goes 4. And so you're left with 140 into 100, which then becomes rupees 14,000. So this is what the total cost price, whatever, like whether he bought it for, whether he spent the amount on refurbishing, that was the total amount that he spent. Out of this, 1200 has been spent on the refurbishing. So what was the actual amount he bought it for? So actual price the TV was bought would be rupees 14,000 minus that's 1200 rupees, and so it's going to be, how much is that going to be? It's going to be nothing but 12,800 rupees. For this particular example, we really did not need a rougher column, but there will be places where the calculations may involve a lot of multiplications, so it's always necessary that you make a rougher column. If you've got your formulas listed like this, that's not a problem, but otherwise you should always be writing down your formula in your exam, in your questions. Write down whatever the information is given, and then also write down an answer statement. An answer statement will be the statement which answers the question which has been asked. So how much did he buy it for? So I've actually put it at that only. Therefore, Ankit bought it for bought the TV for rupees 12,800. Is that okay? So this is how you are supposed to be doing your entire sum. Put down the information given. Be sure that you write your formula. After having done the calculations using the help of a rougher column, write down the final answer statement. Is that okay? Now let's move to the second example. So the second example up for you on the board is a vendor buys a dozen lemons for rupees 25. Dozen means 12. So he buys 12 lemons for rupees 25 and sells them at means that he is not selling 5. He is selling them at the rate of 5 lemons for rupees 12. Does he make a profit? Does he make a loss? So what is a profit or loss percent in the transaction? He would be selling all the 12, but the rate at which he is selling them is 5 lemons he is selling for rupees 12. There was one thing which I told you right in the beginning is that I can only talk about profit percent or loss percent if the number of things sold is the same as the number of things bought. Like if I say the first 5 he sold for rupees 12, the next 5 he sold for rupees 40, how do I actually make out whether it's a profit or a loss? So I need to ensure that the number of things bought and the number of things sold are one and the same thing. There are two ways of doing this. Either I find out the cost price of one lemon from this information. Again, the selling price of one lemon would be 12 divided by 5, but then that will make you have to deal with fractions. So I need to come up with a simpler way, and what simpler way than to find the LCM? LCM of what? I'm going to try and find out the LCM of the number bought and the number sold. So my solution starts with the LCM of the number of lemons bought and sold. In this case, we are looking at the LCM of 12 and 5, which is nothing but 60. Right? Now, from this 60, I'm going to try and find out the cost price of 60 lemons and the selling price also of 60 lemons. So, cost price of what is given 12 lemons was given as rupees 25. So, cost price of 60. How do you get 60 from 12? It is actually 12, you're multiplying 5 into those 12, right? Lemons is going to be, if I have multiplied with 5 on the left here, I will also need to multiply with 5 on the right here. So, it will be 5 into 25, which is going to give you 125. So, I have multiplied with 5 on either side. And what is my unit? My unit is rupees. What I've done for cost price, I'm also going to be doing it for the selling price. So selling price, what it was given of 5 lemons here was rupees 12. So selling price of 60 lemons, then how do I get 60? When I multiply 5 with 12. What have I done? I have multiplied it with 12 this time on the left. So I will also have to multiply with 12 on the right. So I multiply it as 12 into 12, and this is my 12 which I multiplied on either side. And how did I get that 12? Because I needed to get 60 as my common number bought and sold. So that gives you 12 into 12, which is rupees 144. Now, I have the same number bought and the same number sold. I can see the cost price is 125 and the selling price is 144. So what does it tell you? The selling price is more. So here what do I understand? The selling price is more than the cost price. So what is it going to be? It's going to be a profit. Therefore, profit is equal to the selling price minus the cost price, which is 144 minus 125, which comes out to be rupees 19. That having been said, now I know my profit. The first part of the question, what is the profit or loss? So we've understood it's a profit, but I need to find out the percentage. What is the formula for profit percent? We've just put it down. Profit percent is nothing but P upon CP into 100. What profit will I take? The one which I've just calculated as 19. So if I just erase this for the time being, so this is 19 and this is made over a cost price of 125. To get it into a percentage, I multiply with 100. If I know my table of 25, 25 fours are and 25 fives are, which gives you 76 upon 5. 19 fours are, if you know, is 76. 76 upon 5 is nothing but 15 1 by 5, or in terms of my decimals, this is 15.2%, right? So I've been able to calculate my profit percent. All that I now need to write, what did I tell you right in the beginning? My information which is given to me has to be there. My information, what was given, CP of 12, what was given, SP of 12, that was the information given. Then I said I need to have my formulas in place. What was my formula? The first formula I used was the profit formula. Then I used the profit percent formula. What else is left? I said the third thing that you have to be careful about is that you need to be writing your answer statement. So my answer statement in this case is the profit percent in the transaction is 15.2%. Is that okay? So this is how we attempt a question where the number of things bought and the number of things sold is different. With this, we move on to example number 3.